the way that I was brought up and was raised is that Jesus is the literal and singular Son of God,
Mm-hmm.
a divine being that is a cut above all of us, on par with and equal with God,
Yep.
that is set above everything and
Ooh.
everyone.
Oh, this is,
And we're just little powerless things
yeah.
that are just blessed to have the opportunity to ask for help.
Yep.
Like, that was the kind of
Ooh.
understanding that I was raised
Ooh,
with when it
we're
came
gonna
to
ruffle some
God.
feathers with this one. We're gonna ruffle
Mm.
some feathers. You know what came up for me, Jaguar, is that defeat is a lie. This idea or belief in defeat is a lie. It's completely not true. And because we have eternal life. And like life just keeps lifing. Like no matter how many times we are defeated or we lose, like there's always another chance, another reincarnation, right? Another event, another opportunity. And so the quicker that we can stop believing in the idea of defeat and believing in victory consciousness, the faster we can get to and sustain enjoying life and just living a happy life in every waking moment.
Yeah, I agree. To break it down even more nut and bolts,
Mm,
nuts and bolts kind of level,
mm,
I see defeat as a lie, as you're putting it, simply because you can't be defeated until you give up.
mm,
So even then, you're not defeated, you're just giving up, you're just stopping.
mm.
I think it was Einstein I guess inventing the light bulb is a weird statement for Einstein. Taking Tesla's ideas and molding them into a light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
He said, like, he failed what, like 900 or 9,999 times, but the thing
Jeez.
is, like, he didn't fail, he wasn't defeated, he just found out 9,999 ways not to make a light bulb,
Yep.
and he found one way to make a light bulb.
100%.
So it's so much depending on how you see things that, yeah, if you see a failure as defeat and you can go into that mindset of, oh, I'll never try this again. I know so many people who, when they're not good at something on the first attempt,
Mm-hmm.
they just throw in the towel.
Mm-hmm.
And I also used to be very much like that.
Yeah.
If I wasn't good at something immediately, I was just like, nah, I don't want to do it.
Like, what's the thought that we should think when we try something and we fail? Like what should be like the mindset that kind of keeps us moving forward?
For me, it's okay, cool. I can adjust now.
Mm,
I can learn from what just happened and I can do it differently
yeah.
so that I can succeed, so that
Mm,
I can get the outcome that I want.
mm,
So, I mean, like, I grew up playing a whole bunch of video games,
yeah.
and I was one of the kids that would play a video game on as hard a setting as I could handle
Mm,
and not, like, die instantly every single time,
mhm.
but just a challenge, like something to give me a real challenge. Nancy, come on this way. I'm taking care of my friend's dog, and
No,
he
no
wants to get up
worries.
on the couch. If he tries to jump from where he's at, he's going to hit his head.
Yeah.
Come on, there you go. Come this way. Hey, come on, come this way. There you go, buddy. Come on. Clancy, come on, this way. Other way. There you go. Hey, Clancy. All right, well, whatever. Okay, so I grew up playing a lot of video games, and I loved playing them on really hard settings, like as
Mm,
hard as I could handle. And it taught me how to persevere through the challenge and come at it from a different angle. And sure, in a video game, you die, you respawn, you try the same thing again and again and again. But that applies to so many areas of life as well. You don't truly get repeats, even in a video game. It's not a true repeat. The little things will always be different. But you still have different chances depending on what you're doing to do similar things. Like, I would say, even with like dating, you're never going to date the same person, but similar things are going to come up to be like, yeah, maybe I can handle this differently.
mm,
So to me, it's simply, all right, handled this way. What did I do that went well? These things. Cool. Maybe I'll keep those. What did I do that didn't go so well, or I didn't really like once I look back on it? All right, maybe let's work on those.
Do you keep like a journal and track? So one thing I did and I got away from is I would, after the end of each day, I would write down what worked and what didn't go so well. And like
Mm.
those were such key insights because then I would remember what I did that went right and I'll continue doing that the next day and or it would become a habit. And becoming aware of didn't work, I would know not to do that. How when we're editing our podcast videos, we go back and see all the stutters and the lights and the ums and the shoulds. Like we do that so much less now, and we're so much better at flowing and speaking more
Mm.
confidently. So almost like editing your day in that sense from a, one day, what went well today? What worked today? What could I do better tomorrow, is something that I've gotten away from. And saying that, even speaking this out loud, I know would be super helpful and just continuing to get a little bit better every day. And, yeah, just embodying life, victorious life.
Yeah. For a little while, I was getting good at keeping a journal. In general, I've never been
Mm,
that good at keeping a journal.
mm,
It is super useful. At
yeah.
the time that I was being good at it was when I was in like the heaviest pieces of my dark night of the soul. And for anybody who's listening that just went, what is that? It's just like one of the basically when things around you in your life feel like they're circling the drain
Mm,
and there's nothing else to do,
mm-hmm,
when you're basically hitting like rock bottom, but you know somewhere that there's more, but it's that time that for me, I finally asked for help. So when I was going through that period of my life, I did a lot of journaling, which did help me a lot. I was able to take those, oh, this went well today. This didn't
mm-hmm,
go so well today. I did this. And I would go back and read them. And I'll sometimes still go back and read those occasionally, but not too much.
yeah.
It is something that like I sometimes wish I was a little bit better at journaling,
Mm,
but the way I do my best to live is simply, all right, let me learn this principle
mm-hmm,
and do everything that I can to incorporate it into my life.
yeah.
And I watch and experience and I see the effects that it has on my life, or, you know, the effects of me dropping the ball on things. And then I do my best in real time to, okay, all right, let's adjust, let's make it and go that way.
Yeah.
I really started seeing in these last couple of years how like I very much am a doer,
Mm,
not so much like a sit back and study and prepare. I
mm-hmm,
will study, I will prepare, but it's studying enough to do the thing to get going, and then I
mm,
go. And I am okay with dropping balls here, with messing up here and there as I'm going, because of the way that I see it and the way that I've lived. I feel that I get farther that way.
yeah. Yeah. I'll share something with you today because I think attacking what went well and then also coming back to the idea of releasing or not believing in defeat. So I microdosed today around
Oh,
4
yeah.
o'clock, and
Nice.
my intention was to embody my higher self, was to get new and creative solutions and ideas that are for the highest good of the all, and reflecting on a relationship that I've been navigating. And something really cool happened because this person that I had been dating, Faith, when I think of her, I would have this like dislike of her come up. And it's why do I have a dislike? Because there's just times where I like her very much. What's this dislike about? And I disliked her because she is successful in her career. She makes good
Uh,
money, lives in a really nice spot. There would be times where like because I'm in sales, right? So I'm building my territory. Half my salary is half my pay is salary based, half of it is commission based. So I'm working on the commission part of it. So right now is more of a time of me building, not doing so much outside. So there's times where she's somewhere else and I'm feeling away, like I don't like it. And it was because I felt defeated. I felt defeated within myself. And so I say that because I think the keeping a logical record of what's working, what's not working is important, but then also too, identifying it at an energetic level is also very important because I had been carrying around this weight of defeatism for so long. And who knows, it could have been past lifetimes, could have been ancestral, right? You start thinking about, some things maybe my ancestors went through that maybe I had been carrying this idea of defeat and had no idea. And so I just sat here. I had Archangel Raphael on my desk and he was sending me that beautiful energy. And I just really sat with the feeling of like defeat and like how heavy it was. And it was such a big energy that had been in my energetic field for so much time that once I released it, I literally felt lighter. Before we started the podcast, I drove to ShopRite to get some food. And on the way there and on the way back, man, my heart is just happy. It's singing. I feel lighter. I can feel the energy moving around my body differently. And I'm like, man, I just had to sit with it for a while
mm.
in addition to the other stuff, right? To really let that go. And I'm seeing how my mind's working differently. Like I'm moving through life a little bit faster, a little bit more efficiently. I'm hesitating less. I'm just doing it more. So it's a beautiful process.
I love that.
Yeah,
Becoming
man.
more of a doer.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I love that because in the time that we've started this podcast and we've been getting to know each other, I've definitely noticed how you are an immaculate studier, and I admire that about you.
I appreciate that.
You're quite good at really digging into things and reading things and understanding things on a very deep level.
Mm,
And I've been also watching you start to just do more.
mm,
And you said about how like I've been helping you step up when it comes to like this podcast and just
100%.
inspiring you to keep going.
Yep.
And like it's been really cool to watch this kind of evolution. And then I've been trying I've been doing my best to watch that and then take a note from your page and like,
Mm,
okay, slow down a little bit, study a little bit
mhm.
more. So I'm going back through the Kabbalion because
Awesome.
my teacher, he told me I asked him, how am I going to know when I'm ready to teach out of it? He's like,
Mm,
when you've read it at least 10 times. And I'm like, okay, bet.
mm,
And so now I'm just going through it for the second time. And I had a really good understanding of so much of it. He even told me that he felt that I had one of the best understandings that he had ever seen when like a
mm,
first read through. And even at the beginning of the second read through, I'm seeing so much more.
mm,
And then there's the meditation books that you suggested for like Mother Wound, Grand Observer,
mm,
and I haven't gotten deeply into either one of them. I can definitely feel some resistance to like continuing them,
mm,
but also there was another, I don't know if a workbook is the right thing, but there's another book that I was going through that my teacher had given me right after we were working together. He was saying, if it's not right for you to go through this book, this is one of those things that can very, very well change your life. But if it's not right for you to do it, you won't do it. You will
mm,
own this book forever and you won't touch it.
mhm,
And I had gone through half of it
mhm.
and stopped, put it down for months.
Wow.
And then recently I finally was like, I need to do that. I want to continue. I want to finish it. And so I started continuing that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it felt like a lot of getting out of my own judgment, my own way. It was no, just stick in, study a little bit every night. And so taking a cue from you
I
as
appreciate that.
well. Because there's times that like I feel defeated when it comes
Mhm,
to this studying. Like I have so much that I would love to study, and at the
mm,
same time, I feel like I don't know what to study next, what
mm,
to look at, where to go. And one thing that one of my teachers said was that I need to learn how to really listen to spirit on my own and make these
mhm,
decisions for myself. Basically saying like there is no set path,
mhm.
so
100%.
figure it out.
100%. Yeah,
And it's horrifying,
yeah. I
but it
went
also like it leads to feeling defeated sometimes pretty often.
Yeah, yeah. I've been feeling called to the doing, right, as you mentioned, because, I probably spent now almost 6 years where, deep in study, a lot of books, not going out as much, a lot of theoretical stuff, and then doing some maybe surface level practical stuff with it. But now it's like, just stop the reading for right now. I don't know for how long. Stop the reading for right now. You have the information inside of you. Just go and do it. How do you show up at work? How do you navigate when something comes up in your relationships? How do you deal with your mom when she calls you, right? How do you manage your finances and your money? And it's been amazing to see that the stuff has been sticking and you were talking about how on the second read through how you're learning more, it's like when I go to do the same task again, it's like I can see it a little bit differently because I'm just able to make it maybe a slight little adjustment to it. And I even want to say too, I think it's so interesting how you can read a book once, go back and read it again, and like get so much more out of it. What do you think that's about?
I think you're listening with new ears.
Mm,
First time you read or go over or experience anything, it's all brand new.
yeah.
And you're coming at it with this wide eye, trying to absorb as much as possible,
Mm,
but you're gonna miss things
mm,
inherently.
mm,
And then the second time you go through or experience anything, there are certain things that you're gonna remember and so more easily look past. Because when I was a little younger and watching way more movies, whenever I would go through something on a second, whenever I would watch something on a second go through, I did my best to look for other things,
yeah.
look for the little mise en scene items that I missed or background characters
Mm,
that are still telling their own story. And when I say background characters, I mean like maybe secondary or like third characters who are in the scene but aren't the main focus of that scene.
mhm,
They'll still have little things because as long as they're a through line character, there's still a story going on. And if it's
mm,
well directed, well done, they're still going to be doing things that are valuable to watch.
yeah.
And so I think it's the same with books.
Yeah.
You have an understanding of it already and okay, this is what it was saying. So you're able, I think it opens you up to have a deeper understanding
Yeah.
and be more open to what you may have missed.
And I'm going to
Because for
add to that
me,
too.
I'm looking for what I may have missed.
Yeah. I'm going to add to that too, because a book like The Kabbalion, where it's written by these enlightened spiritual beings, I think too, it's yes, it's you're listening to it with a new set of ears. And I don't know if people realize this, but books have an energy to it. And the person who initially wrote that book, there's still a connection to the author of that book, or the author who's channeling, because of Kabbalion. Well, I don't know if they wrote it themselves. They might have written themselves, but my point is that
It's supposed to be three
yes,
authors,
yes,
three
three
initiates.
authors. When I read the Kabbalion, not only am I connecting to the words on the page, I'm connecting to the three authors in whatever dimension they're currently in right now. And it's almost as if the more understanding I have, more experiences that I have, they can also speak to me more directly based off of my growth since the last time that I've read it. And so I say that because I don't know if people are aware or experience this when they read, that you can connect. Like, there's two conversations. It's the words on the page, and it's the actual higher consciousness of what's been written that you can connect to real time.
That's what I felt when I went through the Sophia Code.
Mm.
It
Mm-hmm.
felt very real time.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like she was sitting in that cabin,
Mm-hmm.
writing it in the
Yep.
moment. And of course, I was listening to it years later and in different segments, but every single time it was right back there with her,
100%.
experiencing this with her.
100%.
And of course, because of my studying, because of my practice, and because of where my awareness is, I know that everything is the same. Everything is one. I know
100%.
that doesn't really matter, that
Mm-hmm.
it is all here, still happening at the same time.
100%.
And so I've had those experiences.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's easier for me to see it that way or do
Yeah.
it that way, but
Yeah.
I've definitely felt that. And so if you listening, if you felt this, we would love to hear about it. Comments or DM us, whatever your experience is.
Yeah. And what I'll add to that too is I would say I notice it more when it's specifically a channel book. And when we say
Mm.
channeling, what I'm referring to is people will channel, say, Jesus or Mother Mary or Mary Magdalene. So a person, say myself or Jaguar, can connect to Jesus in whatever dimension he's in, and then channel his words through us, right? And there's different ways of channeling. And so these books, when you read them, you get a sense of that channeled energy coming through the book. And it's almost like you start to be able to channel that energy yourself, right? Just through reading the book on those pages. So that's what we're referring to when we talk about that. And Sophia Code, what that book's about too, if you've ever read it or not read it, it's a beautiful book, but it's about the divine feminine energy. And it's basically, we have this understanding of God as a male masculine figure because of the patriarchy, but it also speaks to Sophia as being the feminine aspect of God. Same God, same source, but there's also a feminine aspect, like the womb that everything was born out of, right? And that's what we're referring to as Sophia. And within the Sophia Code, the author Kaya Ra speaks on different divine feminine ascended masters: Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Isis, Hathor, Kuan Yin, etc. And when we say
Green
ascended
Tara.
masters, I know we've touched on this in the past. We're going to say something?
I said Green Tara because she was the one
Green
that I
Tar,
connected
thank
with
you
the
so much,
most.
Green Tar. When we say
Mm.
ascended masters, right, what I'm referring to is people that have reached a level of consciousness that we call Christ consciousness, which is a very high level of consciousness that we can all reach. So it's not like they're special in the way that we're not. We have the same conscious potential, if that makes sense. We all do.
I would love to dive into that because I feel like that is such a hot button and such a hard thing
Mm,
to talk about,
mm,
to understand, and for a lot of people to even be okay with imagining.
mm-hmm,
The way that I was brought up and was raised is that Jesus is the literal and singular Son of God,
mm-hmm.
a divine being that is a cut above all of us, on par with and equal with God,
Yep.
that is set above everything and everyone.
Oh, this is,
And we're just little powerless things
yeah,
that are just blessed to have the opportunity to ask for help.
yep.
Like that was the kind of
Ooh.
understanding that I was
Ooh,
raised with when it
we're
came
gonna
to
ruffle some
God.
feathers with this one. We're gonna ruffle
Mm.
some feathers. Yeah, my take on who Jesus or Yeshua is a very advanced soul, come from very high level of soul advancement, whether it was from Venus first or from the Pleiades, wherever it was. He was somewhere before here. whether it's straight from source, right? But a highly advanced soul that came here to show us the way, that came here to show the illusion that we were all living into in religion and other areas of life, and to give us clarity around what reality actually is and what truth actually is. And yeah, to just dispel a lot of that and show us, hey, y'all can do that too. You can actually do even more if you just focus, devote yourself, apply yourselves, right? That's my part, adding the apply yourself part. But he was here to show us that we can do it too, right? And that's not coming from an egotistical place. That's actually that's uh that's
What do you
great news. That's joyous, amazing news. The fact that we can be our own saviors. We can save ourselves. We can help each other along the way. That's amazing news. We don't have to wait for something, as you said, Jaguar, outside of ourselves to make things happen.
Yeah. And the way that I understand it now that I've been going back through the Bible with a lot of the understandings that I have now is that he was teaching kind of what you're putting at this great news that we can save, that we can be our own saviors, is that the hell that we are trying to
Mm,
avoid is within ourselves. The heaven that we're trying to reach is also within ourselves,
100%.
in the here, in the now. Jesus taught that the kingdom of heaven is here,
Mm,
not some other ethereal thing,
mm-hmm.
but here. And my understanding of that bit is that it is here. It is
Yeah,
us. It
yeah,
is what we choose. It
yeah.
is whether or not we recognize that, as you said, we can be this and so much more.
Mm-hmm.
That I see it that Jesus was here to show us an example of, hey, this is what beings are capable of,
100%.
and you are one of those beings.
Yep,
So do as I do,
yep,
because I am walking the way.
yep.
I am showing you the way to be. And
100%.
the way I was raised, the thing that like that hits conflict with that, which is why it's going to ruffle so many feathers, is that I was raised with this: Jesus is above us and came to say, hey guys, I'm God. I'm going to die real quick so that way I can come back and you guys can worship me.
Yeah.
And going back through the New Testament, through the Gospels, I don't see that anywhere. I don't see a single passage
Mm,
that actually points to Jesus saying, worship me.
mm.
Off the top of your head, can you remember the way that Jesus refers to himself any and every time a Pharisee or other people are asking him, are you the Son of God? Are you God? Who are you? Do you remember what he says?
I'm going to defer on that one because,
Son of Man.
mm,
Every single time.
yeah.
And in comments and direct messages, I would love to be corrected so that I can go back and look it up or look at a different translation or something.
Mm-hmm.
But even from being raised, I remember this being something that stood out to me. And now rereading, it's definitely stood out a lot more. Son of Man.
Mm,
Every time he
mm.
says, Son of Man.
And the thing too is when you think something is separate from yourself, then you can't have that thing. If you think it's separate from you, you can't manifest it. Like if you're listening, you read things like the law of attraction and how to manifest. You see time and time again that in order to manifest what you want, you have to first feel it within inside yourself. You have to feel it within inside you. So if you think that Jesus Christ or Christ consciousness is something that is up here and you're down here, you're separating yourself from the very thing that you already are. And so it's very important that we don't get away from this illusion of separation, because we are all connected to our source, which we all came from. And the more that we can know it, the deeper that we can know that, the more miracles become common nature, the more, abundant life is and seems in every waking moment. And going back to
Yeah.
what you were saying about heaven and hell, right? So much how it's inside of us. When I was healing from this whole idea of defeat, right? It was a hellish time. It was all this low, heavy energy of defeat, and all the times I accepted defeat in my life and like just allowed myself to not fully go for the things that I wanted, and just feeling stuck. That's a great way to describe hell. This a stuck feeling, like things aren't really moving, or you're going
Yeah.
around in these very vicious cycles, right? And so one way to get out of a hellish state is to get the energy moving again in your body, and it's also to stop the vicious cycle that you're on and realizing, oh, I have the choice to stop this and create something different. I can get this energy moving again. It's the vibration and create heaven within my body, more heavenly feeling within my body, more heavenly experience outside of myself. And it's that simple. Not easy all the time, but it's that simple. And the reason why it's not easy is because these feelings, these parts of ourselves, we don't always want to face it, or sometimes think it's something outside of ourselves, which makes it harder. So me not liking the girl I've been dating, again, even though I know it's all life is lived from the inside out, there's still these facets of life that I have to integrate and realize how this specific facet of life, me not liking her, isn't me actually not liking her. It's me feeling defeated, and I never wanted to face the feeling of defeat, or I've accepted the feeling of defeat, right? And
So
so
if I'm
once you can
understanding you
connect
right,
those
just to be
dots,
sure that there's clarity for everyone listening,
yeah,
it's you seeing yourself clearly and you
mhm,
not wanting to, having not wanted to see yourself in this way previously. Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
100%,
So it's
and
you understanding yourself better.
yeah,
And then what do you choose to do with that once you see and understand yourself better?
100%. And it's just constant. This walk, this way is a constant of us being able to face ourselves and then being able to come back to love. So I thought about some of the vicious cycles I've created with myself and relationship with myself and with other people. And I had this avoidance of the energy, because every emotion has a frequency, has an energy. This avoidance of the energy of viciousness, of like, I think of like animals attacking each other. I see sometimes in the Black community where there's been times of growing up where we'd be so harsh and negative towards each other, or Faith, who I was dating, beautiful Black woman, there are times where we were harsh towards each other. And there's this viciousness that I avoided for so long. But when I was able to sit with it and face it and realize, damn, we don't, okay, we don't, now that I'm allowing this energy to move through me, I don't have to keep recreating these vicious cycles. I can choose to stop it. And so one thing, this is a big thing that came up for me over the last few weeks, is in order to change the world and really change things for ourselves, I think it's important that we get comfortable with sitting with the heavy emotions, right? If you get to a point to where you feel like you truly are overwhelmed, obviously, right, there's this help. But the better we can get at sitting with our heaviest, darkest, deepest, most suppressed emotions and learning how to move and transmute that, the more powerful you become, and then the more easier it is for other people around you to deal with the same things. Because now, if they're dealing with depression and you've already released and transmuted depression, you can help them get out of that state faster because you've already done it.
Mm. And I think you just hit on a way to tie it right back
Mm,
into creating heaven on earth
yeah,
within ourselves versus
yeah,
sticking with a hell within ourselves,
mm-hmm,
is facing what's actually going on within you, what's
mm,
actually going on in your life.
mm-hmm,
I know that in my life, previous to being willing to do this kind of work,
mm-hmm,
I would stay stuck. As you said earlier, I would repeat things in my head, really just torturing myself
yeah,
for the smallest things again and again and again, feeling as if I didn't do enough or I
yeah,
wasn't good enough. All self blame, self
mm,
doubt, self abuse, as
mm,
I put it in my
100%,
coaching practice all of the time, that anything that isn't loving towards yourself is a form of self abuse,
mm,
in my opinion, and in the way that I teach. And so I believe that this journey of coming from this internal hellscape that so many
mm-hmm,
people are stuck in, that
mm-hmm,
I definitely was stuck in,
mm-hmm,
to going into living in a way of heaven on earth,
mm,
is being willing to look at these darker aspects of yourself, these
100%,
shadow aspects, and not
yeah,
judging them.
yeah,
Because a lot of people will think, I'm a bad person for this. This can't be synonymous with a good person,
yeah,
because you might have this idea of, take a monk. Oh, they're dedicating themselves to God. Therefore, they're also going to be abstinent and celibate, because
mm-hmm,
clearly anything sexual is awful and not
mm-hmm,
godly, which I hardcore strongly disagree with,
mm-hmm,
because I very much believe that we don't have things within our disposal that are bad for
yeah,
us.
yeah,
It's all here for an experience. And it's only through suppression of pieces of ourselves
mm-hmm,
that they then come out in the darkest ways.
yeah, yeah,
So by knowing and seeing these shadow aspects, these sides of us that might be deemed as harmful if they're suppressed, and understanding how to integrate them with our lives
yeah,
and accept them for who we are,
yeah,
that's how we start rising above them in a healthy way.
mm,
So that way we're not saying, no, these are not parts of me. We're just saying,
yeah,
this is a part of me,
yeah.
and I choose to make sure it doesn't have command over me, that I have command over it.
I love that you use that word, because I'm going to come back to command. One thing that I've noticed as I've been sitting with these heavy emotions and these feelings that I used to avoid is there's a level of bravery and courage and confidence that I'm starting to naturally exude that wasn't there before. there's a level of command and presence that I have now that I didn't have before because I've integrated that energy. So when I walk into a room where maybe I would have felt a little anxious, maybe a little bit ungrounded, I now feel centered, I feel powerful, and other people feel it too. So as you move through the hell within you, because there's only one way, and that's through. As you move through it, as you get to it, right? There's a sense of joy to it now because I know if I embrace that heavy emotion, that dark thing that I've been avoiding, I'm literally going to get more powerful. I'm going to be more empowered and
I
transmute that
agree.
into love.
And
Yeah.
I think these are the things that prevent us from seeing ourselves and being on that level as Jesus was.
Mm.
And I don't want anybody to be thinking that I think that like I am on that level because I know that I'm not.
Mhm.
Not saying that I could not be, but I'm still on my journey and I'm still
Mm.
learning and I'm still growing.
Mm.
But I very much believe that there is so much more possible. And so as I
100%.
grow and as I continue, okay, I'm going to continue growing and doing my best. I very much believe that by getting out of our own way, by allowing for these things is how we raise our consciousness enough
Mhm.
to get clear enough to
Mhm.
get, I don't really like the word clean, like spiritually clean,
Yeah.
because I don't think there are things that are just wrong. I think there's different pieces of like the experience. The only thing that I would like put in a category and say like this is pretty categorically wrong would be harming others.
Mm.
But even in that, there's all kinds of things around higher selves creating a life path for this and
Yeah.
that reason that
Yeah.
I'm not even going to pretend to understand fully because
Yeah.
it's the all making these decisions. But I believe that Jesus was teaching us and telling us to not fear our own
Mm.
power, to not
Mm.
fear our own greatness,
Mm.
and that he was here to simply show, hey, there is so much more, and
Yeah.
you can be so much more.
Yeah, I want to touch on the Jesus thing again because there's stories in the Bible about people just being in His presence and being healed, right? And while Jaguar and I may not be on that level, right, or you listening may not be on that level yet, your presence is enough to cause miracles. You ever just have somebody walk into the room, right? You just feel their aura and you just feel better about your day. Or maybe you've had somebody walk into the room and maybe it was the opposite. But my point is those moments when somebody just walks into the room and their energy just lifts you up. I'll call that maybe a tiny miracle. And it was just the person's presence alone. And there's certain people that are also on this path where when I sit in front of them, or we could be talking remotely on the phone, no FaceTime, just on the phone, or if I see him in person, it's like all of a sudden this energetic vortex gets created where all the energy in the room lifts up and rises. And it's like we're reminding ourselves energetically without speaking, just through our presence alone, who we are and what we're here for, just with our presence combining. So that's nothing too, is if you're on the spiritual path, if you surround yourself with like-minded people, your presence and their presence, when it comes together, y'all are just going to do, we'll say miracles. Y'all just going to, without having to think about it, do things for each other. There's certain people when I'm around them that lift up my vibration. Just certain beautiful serendipitous things happen after I leave them. Like just things happen to go better and smoother. And it's literally, it's that simple. When you do the work, literally, when you do this type of work, you deal with your shadow self, you raise your vibration, you create heaven on earth. Literally, all that's needed is your presence. Of course, you can do more, but your presence alone is so powerful.
Yeah. It's our attention is our primary resource.
Mm.
Our faith, our belief are the things that come with that attention. And my understanding of the way that Jesus was operating, even in those miracles when he was healing people,
Mm.
he again was saying, by your faith
Yep.
are you healed.
Yep.
Every time. I think I found one spot where he didn't say, by your faith. It seemed like he was taking a little bit more of the credit.
Mm.
I would have to go back and like find that exactly, except for that one spot. Every other time he had said, by your faith. And I very much see that as, yes, they saw this man that was in incredible alignment and they believed that he could heal them. And they did, but it wasn't necessarily him waving a magic wand and going, now I've cast this spell and you are healed.
Yeah.
It was him living in alignment and them going, shit, because that guy is who he is. He can heal me and I will be healed. But it was their faith allowing their body to do the thing and heal.
100%.
You
Allowing
touched
their
on
body
something
to almost
earlier.
attune with the presence of Jesus is how I see it happening. There's almost
So
like an
like
attunement.
I see that as the ultimate placebo effect.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about, man, this is the second or third time that I've talked about him in this book. in the last couple of weeks, and
Placebo
I'm
effect.
blanking
Yeah,
yet
I know
again.
you mentioned this for sure.
Yeah. You're the Placebo by Joe Dispenza. There we go. Okay. So I see Jesus' healing effects as the ultimate placebo effect. Not to say that he did nothing, but that it was their bodies finally opening up and having the faith that this kind of miraculous healing was possible and is possible, allowed for a rapid and instantaneous type of healing.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Dispenza, in his book, You Are the Placebo, which I will admit is the only book of his that I've read so far, but it is a really impressive book in that through meditation and taking scans of people's brains before, during, after, and then prolonged meditation shows the benefits of meditation and changing your beliefs around something. So changing your beliefs around I am terminally ill and allowing your body to continue on. And he goes through so many examples, not only from his meditation practices and these things, but also through scientific journals of people receiving placebos and being healed. Even people who received a placebo and then they were healed. And then they found out that the active drug was a hoax. And then they started deteriorating again. And then something else came up that, oh no, the drug actually did work, and then they started then they healed again,
Yeah.
and then years after that found out no, it actually was a sham the whole time, and then they died from it.
Mm.
But that kind of belief in it, no belief, belief, no belief, belief,
Yeah.
no belief, was activating the healing, releasing it, activating it, releasing until they
So
finally
wild.
died.
That's so wild.
But they received the placebo the whole damn time.
Yeah.
It was just their belief in the thing
Mm.
that allowed themselves to heal.
Mm.
It's why through when my younger years, I would hear about smokers living to like 80 and 90 and like not dying of lung cancer, just mind blowing kind of stuff. And then some people who would smoke for like a year,
Mm-hmm.
lung cancer. It's like, okay, what is happening? And I've talked to some of those people who are in their 80s, 90s, who
Mm-hmm.
have smoked for a majority of their life, and they will look you dead in the eyes and goes, this is not what's going to kill me.
Mm.
Just solid, unshakable belief
Mm.
in that.
Yeah.
I've now developed in myself a belief of when I get sick, it's because I'm out of alignment in this area or that area of my life, and it's something to tell me. And I have spent time with, in close proximity, shared things with people who are actively sick. And they're like, I mean, if you're okay with maybe getting sick, I'm like, I'm not going to get sick. And I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I've been sick twice in the
Mm.
last 3 years.
Mm.
And both times I was able to point to, yeah, I was out of alignment in that area.
Mm.
Yeah, I did that. And that hurt that person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Just beliefs. And I think it's so important that we examine our belief systems. And two, not get so stuck to our current belief system, because a belief is just something that at some level we accepted it into our subconscious mind, but doesn't mean that it is actual truth. So I think it's very important that we keep inventory of what our conscious beliefs are and what our subconscious and conscious beliefs might be, and that we examine
Can you
that
just say that
because
again? You can
yeah,
just repeat that?
yeah, no, I think it's important that we keep an inventory on what our beliefs are, both conscious and subconscious, because that's literally what's creating our reality. And so if there's something that you keep creating and you see a pattern in your life, why does this keep happening? It's a good practice to examine what belief am I feeding into that's helping to create this. And because literally once you uncover that, sometimes just the awareness of it, and then even just the awareness alone could be enough to change it. And also writing the positive belief that you want to replace it with does it does miracles for shifting your reality, and
So
you'll
for
feel
anybody
it
who is
inside of you
listening
too.
to this and going, how do I change my beliefs?
Mm-hmm.
If I believe this, if I believe that I'm going to die of this or I'm going to get sick, if this is really just a belief,
Mm.
then what would I do? How do I change that? What would you say?
Yeah, no, I think you have to understand the energy, the feel where the belief lives in your body. So it's like when I had this belief of defeat, where do I feel it in my body? Okay, maybe somewhere down here. Okay, now where is that coming from? Oh, I see an image of my mother scolding me when I was younger because something I wanted to do, I didn't do it right, so I was wrong. And I felt defeated and there was no being right, right? And so, okay, maybe that was the source of where it came from. And so it's being able to get to the root of that belief. And there could be other roots or other parts of that need to, because there could be levels to fully releasing something, right? And living at a higher vibration. But that's a start. Is what do you see? What do you feel? Where do you feel in your body? What do you see in your mind about that belief? Where do you feel it started? If you start there, that's a good place. And then we might have touched this in another podcast, but you know, you sit with it, you feel the energy, you embrace it, you love it. And then, you know, you will give it permission to leave. And then you can replace it with something, right? Whether you write it down, whether you say it out loud, whether you just energetically call in a higher, you know, a higher vibrational belief, you know, and this is where your own devotion to this path comes in, because how I do it might be a little bit different than how you do it.
Mm.
So,
And I'll speak on how I do it
mm,
because I think you outlined a beautiful way of finding
mm,
the beliefs
mm,
and then how to like what you can do with them afterwards. And I loved how you talked about as you're changing it to replace it with something.
mm,
I think so
100%.
often people we get stuck or we trip up by getting rid of things and then leaving a void
Mhm,
without actively and consciously replacing it with something else. And
mhm,
then when you're leaving that void, you're just welcoming any and every habit, belief, energy to just fill that void
100%.
without our, conscious.
It could come back even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually have a story just came to me for
Mhm,
that. So I love how Kevin teaches about changing beliefs in creatorhood
mhm,
because he talks about that there's two ways of changing beliefs. There is a big sudden event,
mhm,
so like a life-changing event,
mhm,
so a car accident,
mhm, mhm,
loss of a family member, breaking a limb,
mm,
big kind of events. They can change a belief in a moment. And then there's slow and constant little things that over time change a belief.
mhm,
And so I've had those big moments changing my beliefs throughout my life. I rode a motorcycle for years,
mhm,
and 2 years I was only on a motorcycle.
mm.
And so in those 2 years, I nearly lost my life 3 times.
Wow.
And so those were big moments. But then more recently in my older age, as I've been finding those habits and those things that I would want to change, I've been having to use that slower,
Mm,
more progressive way of changing. And we've talked about this on our podcast before, but for me, it's through prayer.
mm.
So I put it in my prayer, my morning
Yeah,
and my night prayer of
yeah.
whatever I'm trying to change, what I'm trying to shift, these beliefs I'm trying to shift. I put it there. So
Mm,
that way I'm meditating on them and I am praying on them every single day.
yeah,
And I've seen a massive shift.
yeah, yeah.
And to speak on that whole,
Mhm,
leaving something and allowing something to come back even stronger
mm,
later, it was for me, it was when I really saw it, it was after the like earliest breakup with my ex-girlfriend. I describe it as kind of a bullshit breakup in that, yeah, I broke up with her, but I knew I wanted to be back with her. I knew she wanted to be back with me. I was basically just giving myself an excuse to walk away and
yeah.
hopefully have no consequences. And so it was during that period. Briefly before that, she and I had done Bufo together. For anybody who doesn't know,
Mm,
please do not try this on your own. Please do not try this recreationally. Please find people who know how to hold proper ceremony so that way you can be safe. That's all I'm really going to say about that, besides the fact that, in a nutshell, what Bufo is doing is just cleaning you out
mm,
on so many different levels. It
mhm,
does a lot more, but one thing it does is just clean you out and you are just a
mhm,
tube. But
mm,
it's something I didn't really understand and I didn't really know how to do the integration work and I did not connect with the community and I did not talk to an integration coach. I tried to just handle everything myself because
mhm,
I had gone through a single coaching program and I had gotten over heartbreak. So in my arrogance, I was like, "Psh, I got this." I did
mm,
not got this. And so, as you said, that void was there. And then all of these shadows that I hadn't really even allowed myself to see and accept
yeah.
just came back
Mm,
in the
mm,
strongest kind of way.
mhm,
They said, run away from your commitment.
mm,
They said, this is all her fault. This is all her just criticizing you. You're not wrong in any of this. You haven't done anything.
yeah.
Fuck her. All of these things. So I pushed her away and I ended up finding someone else to sleep with that day.
Mm,
Not
ish,
something that I am proud of, but it is something that I've had to look back on and say, damn.
yeah.
I didn't do very good at integrating. And so when I removed things from my life,
Mm,
these darknesses, I didn't intentionally replace them
mm,
with something healthy, with
mm.
good habits, with
That's
good
real.
practice. I didn't take my time. And so I left a void. And the thing is, There's this beautiful quote about how in hard times we don't rise to the occasion. In hard times, we sink to our default. And I hadn't raised my default to be at a healthy level. My default was still bullshit. And so I hurt somebody badly because that was my default. That was my practice. And I was so arrogant in that moment to think, I got this.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. One thing I wanna bring it back to, because you talked about how a big moment in life can change somebody's beliefs instantly. And so you talk about breaking the limit stuff. So if you guys have heard of NDEs or near death experiences, like near death experiences for people can be and have been so life changing for them. One, there's this brain surgeon. He has a book. I can't remember the name of this book. You may have heard this story, you may not have. He's a brain surgeon. He did not believe in God. He did not believe that there was really like a heaven or anything. Like after you die, your body just kind of dies and slowly deteriorates. However, when he was a brain surgeon that got a brain tumor, and that tumor put him in a coma. And being a brain surgeon, he knows how the brain works, and he
Is
knows that.
it even Alexander? Eben
Yes,
Alexander?
Eben Alexander. Yes, that's him, Eben Alexander. And so
The book
Eben
is
knew
Proof of Heaven.
Proof of Heaven, exactly.
Yeah,
So
just Google that.
yes, Proof of Heaven by Eben Alexander. Great book. So Eben knew, based off of the coma and how it was, there should have been no brain activity going on in his brain. This man saw so much, and I think it's like a 7-day period that has taken him years to decompress and to translate into the English language. So this man went to a heavenly dimension, saw, I think, his like half sister or something, saw like different levels of heaven, etc. Learned more about God or source, like learned all of this stuff. And before that, he didn't believe in any of it, right? And so this is someone who went from basically being almost like an atheist to a firm believer in God, a firm believer in heaven, a firm believer in that there's an afterlife after after you transition from here, right? And so it's stories like that that's so powerful. And there's so many stories. If you study near-death experiences, there are other stories that are somewhat similar to his about people going into another dimension or a heavenly dimension, or going into a dark void, which seems kind of hellish, but then going to a heavenly dimension after they move through the dark void. There's stories about, not near-death experiences, but there's stories about children, 8 years and younger, who have memories, vivid memories of past lives, of things that they would do, and be able to give very specific coordinates of where things were in a past life that still might be in that same exact place currently, right? So these are things that you can look into. Don't take my word for it. Feel free to look into it. But it just makes you think, if all these people are having these experiences, then is what the mainstream society saying about life, that we live one life, then that's really it, or there's only one way to do things, or there's no such thing as reincarnate. Is that really true? Or are these people on to something? I'll leave that up to you. Thanks for tuning in to Building Consciousness with Jaguar and Jay, where we explore spiritual concepts and aim to break them down in a practical way for everyday use. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on future content. If you have thoughts or questions, drop a comment below or connect with us on Instagram, jdoss545 and build_with_Jaguar. We love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and remember, we are the authors of our own reality. This is Jaguar and Jay, signing off.